Hi, I'm Bea, your instructor for today. So, Chapter 5 will be about worldview, the cultural explanations of life and death. So, to start with this chapter, let us first discuss what worldview is. Worldview is defined by Bailey and Peoples as the way on how people interpret reality, including themselves and how they relate to the world around them. Also, worldview becomes a picture of reality based on a set of shared assumptions about how the world works. Cook and Clough also highlighted those assumptions by writing that worldview is about a culture's orientation towards God, humanity, nature, questions of existence, life, moral, suffering and death, and other philosophical issues influences how its members perceive their worlds. Worldview also governs a person's life because the society chooses those ways that accord with its thinking, ways that fits its basic postulates as to nature of things and what is desirable from what is not. Therefore, the pervasive impact of worldview is so extensive that it can affect the social, economic, and political life of a nation. Worldview and culture. Culture plays a large portion of an individual's worldview because, in fact, one way to define worldview is the manner in which a culture sees and expresses its relation to the world around it. What are the manifestations of worldview? Islamic worldview says that a woman is a subordinate of a man, and according to their Quran and Hadith, God created the woman from a man's fragment so that she may serve him. The Christian worldview imposes that God wants them to be the masters of the earth, therefore, they believe that a man should be placed above nature and the environment. The worldview of Shintoism prescribes an aesthetic love of the land. It focuses on reality and not on heaven. Let us now discuss the constructs of worldview. Religion as a worldview. A major characteristic of a religious worldview is that it provides a belief in the existence of a reality greater than human. Secularism is worldview. This worldview rejects miracles and gods, and it has a set of ethical standards that can also be found in religious traditions but excluding the belief in supernatural being. Moreover, they believe in the finality of death. They believe that death is not a spiritual matter, but rather an undeniable truth about our existence. Spirituality as a worldview. In contrast to religion, spirituality is often an individual rather than collective and does not require a distinctive format or traditional organization. That is all on my part. Thank you.
We are going to tackle more about religion on this part. Let us explain those two ideas in more detail before we examine the world's 6 major religious traditions. You will recall that Chapter 3 discussed the importance of a culture's social institutions, and religion is one of those institutions. Religion and the sacred, which tackles about the teachings of the Bible, Vedas, Quran, Torah, and I Ching. Religion and personal conduct, which tells us that religion has been a major source of cultural values, beliefs, and attitudes. As these systems and the entire world becomes more complex, religion is undergoing a kind of modern-day reassessment. Through globalization, messages are being sent via new technologies as well as the challenges created by major shifts in international migration patterns. The remainder of this chapter seeks to introduce you to them so that you can understand how members of these religious traditions might perceive and participate in this world through the elements of religion. First is speculation. In this capacity, religion provides a blueprint for those parts of the world that people do not understand and thus lessens feelings of bewilderment. Jews have Abraham and Moses, Christians have Jesus, and Muslim faith have Allah. For religious rituals, most places have a heavy emphasis on it. The Catholic is enjoined to attend Mass weekly, while the Muslim is told to pray 5 times daily according to a set formula. For ethics, in Judaism, for example, there are not merely the 10 commandments but a complex of over 600 rules imposed upon the community by a divine being. For Muslims, the teaching of the Quran and Hadith exemplify the moral way of life that God expects the human beings, while in Hinduism has a rich moral code. In the Vedas, Rita is the principle of right and order in the universe, all things conform to its control.
Start with Christianity, a faith that took its name from Jesus Christ, who with a small band of disciples traveled throughout the Holy Land, preaching, teaching, and healing sick. Christianity has historically been composed of three major branches: the Roman Catholic Church, the Eastern Orthodox Churches, and Protestantism. When it comes to death, most Christians believe that those who have lived a righteous life will happily live in the presence of God in heaven. Those who are wicked will endure hell.
The next one is Judaism.
One of the most significant events in the forming of this religion is the role played by the prophet Abraham. According to Jewish history, God chose Abraham to function as the father of the Jewish people. There are very few references of it or an afterlife in traditional Jewish writings. The first and primary responsibility of the Jew is this life and not the world to come. The Torah has no clear references of afterlife. Perceptions of the Islamic faith are often colorized by hysteria, generalizations, and oversimplifications. This faith began when the need of prophet to carry the message from God was resolved with the arrival of Muhammad. An important core assumption for Muslims deals with the 5 pillars of Islam: statement of belief, prayer, alms, fasting, and pilgrimage. Islam offers the most detailed description of afterlife. Beautiful paradise awaits the righteous, and a hideous hell imprisons and punishes the wicked. Hinduism is the oldest known religion in the world. Hindus believe in the divinity in everything. They believe that the universe is interconnected across time and space. Rocks, plants, animals, and humans are all interrelated. When it comes to death and afterlife, Hindus believe in the immortality of the soul and in reincarnation. Hindus learn not to fear death or even grieve over the death of their loved ones.
Buddhism, the 5th major religious tradition that was founded by Siddhartha Gautama. Buddhism is a profound core belief in the influence of a single individual who lived among the people. This individual is known as Buddha, which means person who has epitomized human situation. He is known to be the enlightened one. His life features 4 essential parts, starting from his birth until his enlightenment. Buddha made it clear that he was not a god but simply a man. He taught that all have the potential to seek for the truth. Buddhism has 4 noble truths. First is Dukkha, second is Samudaya, third is Nirodha, and last is Magga. Aside from the noble truths, Buddhism is also known for its 8-fold path. It has expressions that can influence intercultural communication. First is the use of silence, second is the permanency, and karma, which is essential for it sets the tone for ethical behavior. Talking about death, Buddha believed one could not be happy in this life nor create good karma without understanding the reality of impermanence. Confucianism. Confucianism is important for most of the countries in East Asia. This is a system of thoughts based on Confucius and his successors. Confucius is a Chinese teacher and political figure famous for his analects, which are written over a 50-year period. Confucianism also has its cultural expressions, which are Zhen, Li, Te, and Wen. About death, Confucius is not interested about it. Religion and worldview, a final thought. In this chapter, Homer when he said that all men need their gods. As what the Dalai Lama appeals, we must meet with our universal responsibility to achieve harmony among all religions.